What's going on here? If you look closely on my Morningstar controller, you're going to see that I have PC up and PC down, kind of back and forth. It says 2 PC, and 2 just reminds me what channel I'm on. So this is scrolling program changes on MIDI channel 2. And the cool thing is, if you look in the center there, you can see which preset you're on. So it's preset scrolling, and it's telling you which program change it's sending, which is super handy. So let's see how we can set that up. If we go into our Morningstar editor here, I'm connected with my USB cable. So we're going to select the device. It's the one I have connected here. And let's just start this from scratch because there's some weird looking stuff here. So weird, in fact, that I'm just going to write it down. So in the parentheses, this is kind of the tricky stuff. All right. That's the fancy stuff. Stuff in parentheses is mandatory. This stuff is just optional. That's just the way I like to do it for my brain. All right, let's just navigate to a new... I want something that's totally blank. Here we go. All empty. So the top one, we can just delete that. So that's cleared out, so it's not distracting to us. And then on this side, we're going to make this say 2 PC left arrow I think that's all I had. Let me just see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks right. And then let's finish this side. I'm just getting the naming out of the way here. So here's where we're going to use this. To plug in a number, it has to have this %, capital E, and then 0. And then anything you put after that is going to be just after the number. So if we look on the editor here and go %, you don't have to put the parentheses, %, capital E, 0. Don't accidentally do O. You got to do 0. And then we're going to go dash dash. This part is the optional part. Just makes sense to me. So what we say here, this I know looks confusing, just bear with me. This is just telling the controller where to put the number. And then the arrow is kind of for your brain to know that you're going down, or up actually. And then we're on MIDI channel 2, and then it's a program change. We're going to save that, and we're just going to take a look and see if this looks right. All right, I think that's the way I had it. All right, so obviously nothing's happening here. This is just, we've only taken care of the naming. So now we're going to get in and set the controls for these two switches. So on the first one, we're going to press this side to activate that on the editor. We're going to give that a press, and then it's going to be all the way down to this PC number scroll. Feel free to experiment with any of these that you want, but for this video, we're going to have the left side go down, so decrease by 1 and send. What that means is this counter is going to decrease by 1 number, and the program change is going to send. You could increase and decrease only without sending, or you could send only, but we're going to decrease the number and send the program change. Counter 0. So we have 16 different counters to work with, and right now we're on counter 0. I can show you that in a minute, why that's handy. MIDI channel is 2. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And we're going to check this out. See, it's already going down. All right, so this side is still nothing, and when I press on it, it does this on the editor. It just shows us the blank, but we have our name correct here, so that's good. Now we want this side to do the same thing, but we want it to increase. So we're just going to do a press PC number scroll increase by 1 and send. Same counter, same MIDI channel. We're going to save that. So now we have up and we have down. And you can see on Condor things are happening there while we're scrolling through presets. So now when we look over to our editor, I'm going to show you this counter here. So here's one thing to keep in mind. I had this counting 0 through 15, right? And the reason I had that was because I was using it to activate the 16 loops on Blooper, which are numbered program changes 0 through 15, right? So this was scrolling through loops on Blooper. You can set those for anything you want. Let's say on your Condor that you had like 10 presets that you had for a gig tonight, and you wanted to be able to scroll through presets 1 through 10. That's where this counter comes into play. And let's see if I can remember where it's at. Scroll counters. So you want to go controller settings right here and scroll counters. So we could leave this first one alone. It'd be cool if you could name them, but it doesn't matter. We could make this one say blooper, would be handy. So let's say on this one, we wanted to set it up for our Condor. And like I was saying, presets 1 through 10. So we'll have the start value be 1. 0 would be your live mode. You could include that if you want, but we're just going to go 1. Minimum 1. Sorry, I kind of skipped over this. Start value is just when you jump into this preset, this page here, where do you want Condor to start? We could start at 5. Makes sense to start at 1 for this purpose. And you can already figure out what we're going to do here. Obviously, 10. So we're going to start at 1. Minimum is 1. Maximum is 10. We're going to save that. And now we're going to go back to this preset. We're going to change this counter to 1. So this is like if you had this all set up and everything was right and you just wanted to like use a different counter. This is how easy this is. And then we'll go to this one and we'll change it also to number 1. So now, let's see if we get out of here and then come back in. I just realized that we skipped a step. And I kind of realized it as I'm going here. So let's talk about it. So after the changes that were just made, you'll see that the number isn't changing. That is because up here in the editor, remember this %E0? I forgot that this has to line up to the counter number. So we're going to put a 1 in here. And So if you were on counter E, that would need to be an E. So it'd be EE. Counter F would be EF. Sort of self-explanatory, I guess. So now when I go through, you'll see we're getting it just fine. It goes up to 10 and then cycles back to 1. All right, so this is showing us preset scrolling from 1 to 10. If you have any further questions, feel free to email me, paul@chaseblissaudio.com.